Our schedule is 7 to 5, Monday through Friday, so we're not working late at night. We're not working any Saturdays or Sundays. We may stay a little bit late if we're trying to finish something we know we can finish in, like, whatever, but we're not doing like we used to do. Like back in the day, we'd stay all night to finish something for somebody. I mean, I owned tow trucks for what, 20 some years, and if you don't have enough trucks, you don't make your money. Same thing. We work on a lot of people's work trucks and, fleet trucks. And if we don't come through for them, like somebody may not be working that day because he doesn't have a truck to drive. So I care. I absolutely care about the customer, but not at the cost of my people, right? Like it was just like, I remember working, God, 24 hours a day, we were 7 days a week, work all night. Sometimes, one of the tow trucks, make sure it could run the next day, and then go home and sleep for 4 or 5 hours, or maybe that, and then get up and do it again. I don't want that for my guys. Like, somebody said, hey, you should put another mobile truck together and go, like for the Forest Service, right, during the fires. And, it's 14 days on, and it's good money for the contractor, and we'd be a contractor. I'm like, I don't want to do that because I don't want to do that to one of my guys. So I think in a day in the life, it's pretty cush. I mean, as far as, it's still hard work. You're being a mechanic. It's still heavy. It's hard. It's greasy. It's dirty. It's still not like easy work, but I would say what we've created is pretty easy. And I think that the people that work here, they're good people. And they just are. They're kind. They're respectful. I love that about them. I mean, I think the worst attitude would probably be mine. You know what I mean? Like, but no, my wife's created something that's great here. People, good morning. People say good night. People, there's, with the amount of people that work here, on your birthday, whatever you want to eat. Well, everybody else is eating too, right? Like we're gonna buy, like if you said I want pizza, we're gonna buy pizza for everybody. I think that's kind of cool, right? It doesn't cost us that much, and these people matter, right? It's their birthday, so let's have a little something for them. And so I think she's created that. And just, that kind of being just that woman's touch, right, that you need. Because guys are pretty, like, roughnecks, especially me, like, hey, just do your job. I shouldn't even have to talk to you. Say good morning to you and good night. You do your job, I do my job, and we go home. Well, that's not reality, right? Like, sometimes you got to talk to people. Sometimes they're going through something, right? Something at home or whatever, and you don't know. And you're like, why are you acting so weird, man? Just do your job, And so just, like, trying to understand. So trying to get the guys to be open and, like, hey, if you're going through something, you got to let us know. Anyways, I think there's a genuine caring about the people who work here, right? Because I do care, right? Like I've told them so many times, I don't need any more money. Now, I'm not rich. I mean, I live in a track home. No, don't have a Harley, a boat, all those. I play golf, so that's not cheap, but I do that. But I really don't need to make any more money. I don't need a bigger house. I don't need more cars, right? I just tell the guys all the time, let's make more money so you guys can make more money. Because when we have a little shop meeting, I ask anybody, hey, John, do you need more money? Would your family live better if you made more money? The answer is always going to be yes. Buy a new pair of shoes for your son or whatever. You could take him to Disneyland. I mean, that, or whatever, right? So just trying to create that, right? Trying to create that where my guys feel that they're loved, right? That they're cared for. And I do. I mean, I can't think of one person who works here that I don't care about. I don't think they could work here if I didn't care about them. Because if I didn't care about them, that means there's something in their character that I don't dig. Either they're a liar, they're disrespectful, they're a cheater, Like I'm just trying to hire good people. That's it, right? If you are kind and respectful, because we're going to be kind and respectful to you, if you can do that and you have a little bit of mechanical skills, we can teach you the rest. Now, I'm not saying that's true for everybody, because some people, I've had a couple guys that are really, really nice. I mean, really, really nice, but they're never going to be a mechanic. They just don't have it. I mean, you've been around this, too. You've been around this for a while. Like, you see certain guys that just have great skills, and then other people struggle with the tools in their hand, right? So we're never going to teach those guys, but up front, you're going to get the best of somebody. I don't think you know who you've really hired for like 30 to 60 days. Because you can think, hey, this guy's really calm, and then you see him lose his temper one time or be disrespectful to the girls that, run the counter, and like, that's not okay. They're the sweetest ever. You've been around them. I mean, they're the sweetest people ever. Yeah. They're nice to the parts people. They're nice to, the customers. I think the day in the life is, this is a good place to work. I mean, there's happy people here. I'm not saying this isn't stressful, because it is. It doesn't matter. We have promise dates. Things got to get finished. We need parts come wrong or whatever. Or, somebody didn't order all your parts. And you're like, well, that's great that I have this EGR cooler, but I have no seals for it. It's just that one of those things. You just got to call the customer and you just got to tell them, hey, we have a problem. Whether it's our fault or whoever's fault, there's a problem. We don't have the parts, and we're not going to finish on Thursday.
Right.
Now we'll be lucky if we finish Friday. Everything's just delayed because you're pulling people versus before. If we had enough people, that guy just stays on that engine job. He just stays until he's finished. It's test driven, and he moves on to the next project. So I think that part's stressful. But you have to have kind of like that mechanical mind. Like you look at something, like I've seen you come in the shop before, and you're like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like what? And then you're kind of looking at each other. Your brain's already turning and turning and turning because you're trying to figure something out. And you're like, I go, no, it's this, and you're like, oh, okay, right? Because that's how your brain works. I think you have to have that. You have to be a little bit curious. You have to wonder how stuff works. And then I think the other thing to do this job is it has to make you feel good when you fix something. Like it's broken, whatever's broken on it, right? And you put the parts or pieces or whatever together, and then when you're done, it works. Like, but the bottom line is I don't think everybody wants to go to college. I know I didn't, And so how do you find that? Like, how do you find that guy who, thinks he maybe doesn't want to go to school, but I think we're losing more and more tradesmen because, and we don't even have to be a mechanic. We could say like somebody's still got to climb that ladder, right? To paint the building or climb the ladder to whatever. This guy's still got to have a shovel in his hand to dig the ditch because people think that you think the country just moves on Instagram, the internet, right? But it doesn't. It's like, as the military would say, it's boots on the ground, right? You need guys to do this, right? We need guys to fix stuff. But like this, the government was wondering, why are these emergency response vehicles being in these shops for so long? And the government was going to put together, I think in the state of California, like some sort of, investigation team. And I'm like, why? Anyways, it was one of the senators. She's since gone, senator or congressman. And I'm thinking, so I'm telling my contact that I work for, I'm like, hey, you don't need to do any of that. Just have them come talk to me. We don't have enough people to do this job. We simply do not have enough people. It's straight up. I mean, if I'm seeing trucks, and we're in San Bernardino, and I'm seeing trucks from sometimes Ventura, from this government agency, sometimes, maybe not Santa Clarita, that's too far, but like Azusa, like they're passing a lot of shops to get to my shop, right? I mean, I think we do a good job for them, but I think it's one of those things where those guys probably don't have enough people either. So they're like, we don't want to do that kind of work. Yeah, we're just going to focus on this work, so we're not going to take that work anymore. And it's really simple. There are simply not enough people. And when you go to the technical schools guys are paying $20,000, $30,000 to retire or to learn the trade, I don't think they're really interested in. I mean, we've hired quite a few. None of them have worked out. I mean, they're nice guys, but none of them have worked out. And I don't know if it's one of those things where their parents are going, you need to do something, right? And so they're like, well, I think I kind of want to be a mechanic maybe, so I'll go to this school and have them train me up, and they pay all the money. And then it's like, wow, like you spent all that money, and like, I don't think this job is for you, right? So I don't know where we're going to get that next group of people. I hope someday that guys are going to want to do this, right? Like I have some pretty young guys and they want to do this. They like it. I'm just hoping we can find someone who's going to want to. I mean, I don't really know what a young man thinks anymore. Like like when I was young, I just remember I just wanted to get out of the house and get my own place, so I was willing to do whatever. But I know, like when it comes to mechanical shops, because that's what I know, and I know other people that own shops, and it's the same thing. We can't find people. And we're not even talking like good people. I'm not saying like this guy's the best mechanic ever. No, we just can't find people that even want to be trained, and we're willing to train them, right? We're willing, I mean, yeah. So anyways, I'm just hoping that some guys, walk in the door. I think every day in my prayer, I thank God for all the work he sends us each and every day. And I thank God for all the people that I work with, because they're good people. I pray God will send us a couple more. Does that make sense? Can you send us just a couple more guys to lighten the burden on everybody? It's fleet work, and we have relationships with these people, and it's not like you can go, well, sorry, we're not done. Because you know these people. You've known them for 5, 10, 15 years. Like, you know them, and you want to come through for them. So we were talking about earlier about benefits. I think we take pretty good care of our people. I mean, we give them medical. We take care of their medical, their dental, their vision. They're going to get 1 week vacation paid. We usually pick up most holidays because we typically don't work. Like we're not working on Labor Day. That'd be horrible, right? It's Labor Day. You tell everybody make sure you show up. Most of the time we pay them for that. We pay them 8 hours for that. Like when they, when there's a holiday or something like that, we try to pay for that. There's an expectation you're going to have your tools, but when a lot of these guys start out, especially young ones, they don't. So we have a couple little roll carts, that have some pretty basic tools in them and get them started. But I don't think that's a necessity, like especially not in the beginning. But there's that expectation if you're going to stay here, you need to start investing in some tools, right? So I think it's that. But I had certain people when they hear that, they're like, "Oh, I can just go there and I don't need any tools." And it's like, yeah, that's because you've never used any of this stuff before, so you have no idea what you're doing. So you had to have at least had the tools, your dad's tools or somebody's tools in your hand. Like I said, I just don't know. We've talked about this so many times. I don't know where to find the people. I mean, I've gone to, like I said, I'm going to call it a mechanic school and don't need to name what it is. I mean, I've been over there so many times. I've been to their quarterly meetings, kind of like, hey, what are we teaching the kids the right things? And I'm like, I think you're teaching them too much. I don't think they're retaining any of it. Like, just basic stuff. Like a 12-volt battery in a car or truck should have how many volts if it's off? Probably around 12, right? If it's running, depending on the truck, how big it is, 13.5, when it's running, the alternator's charging the batteries. But it's like not knowing that kind of stuff. Like, hey, truck's off, boom, you put a meter on it.
What's it supposed to be at?
What should it be? And then if it's running, what should it be? And, all trucks are a bit different, but, if you're seeing 12.2, you have a problem, right? If it's running, you have 12.2, it's not going to keep running very long. I mean, it's going to have a problem, right? Just those basic things. And then one guy even struggled with the fact of which way a nut or a bolt comes off. But there has to be that interest, right? If you're not interested, you can't be dumb and do this job. I mean, yeah, you could change parts and not have a real high IQ. But if you're going to be the guy figuring it out, like how it works and what's wrong with it, why is it not working, you have, can't be.
You have to be smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's that thing. I mean, the days of being just a grease monkey. I mean, if you looked at like there's that GTO out there that we're gonna work on. I don't want to, but it's a good customer and it's his toy car. And you're like, why don't you want to work on it? I mean, it's because it's old, and I just know that there's nobody probably here that can work on it but me. But it's so basic. It's like, do we have fuel? Well, it looks like the carburetor's dumping fuel in there.
Do we have compression?
Do we have spark? Yeah. Do we have spark? I mean, just the basics. Do we have fuel? Well, it smells like it. Do we have spark? And it's pretty easy to check. And is the timing right? And I mean, pretty much, if it doesn't run after that, then yeah, compression test or whatever. But it's pretty basic. There's no computer, telling it what to do, and people don't understand that. When you have a computer, sometimes sensors lie to the computer. You know what I mean? They don't throw code. That was difficult because you wouldn't have that. I mean, if that was in an old car without any computer, you would just get some sort of vapor lock. You know what I mean? If it was running that hot, you'd all of a sudden, and the temperature gauge was everything. Oil pressure and temperature was everything. Okay. So anyways, yeah, I think you can't be dumb and do this job. And I'm not even putting anybody down. But it's like in our industry, this happens all the time where people will call me and go, hey, put this part on my diesel truck. I'm like, well, why would we? Well, I saw it on the internet. I said, you understand these people are being paid to do that, right? Like, that's not going to do, and some of the stuff is good, right? You know that. Some certain aftermarket stuff rocks. But other stuff, it doesn't do anything for you. It's not going to do anything for you, right? Yeah. So it's like, be careful who you listen to, right? And think for yourself, like, is that logical to me? Like, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a respectful, kind person, first of all. I'm looking for somebody who's curious, right? And somebody who this actual kind of work interests. Like, are you interested in this? Are you interested in fixing, equipment, trucks, cars? Is that an interest for you? Because if you're just doing it, you're just kind of wasting my time and yours too, right? Like, look at something you're interested in that you kind of like, and you're like, could I make money doing that? There's lots of things I'm interested in, but I can't make no money at it, so I didn't do those, right? So yeah, just somebody who's interested in, like, I think I want to fix that. I want to be part of this group. I think we have a great group. You know the guys here. It's a good group of guys, right? Mm-hmm. These guys hang out, outside work. I mean, you were that one week I was kind of worried they were all going, and they're not a bunch of partiers, but they were all going to Havasu, to the river for the weekend. And I'm thinking, I don't know if I want all you guys going together. I picture one boating accident, right? and nobody comes back to work on, on Tuesday. I mean, that didn't happen. Everybody was fine. They're not crazy guys, but
Son of a bitch, they're all dead.
yeah, but they, they hang out together, and I think the camaraderie is good here. But yeah, I think just looking for somebody curious and, somebody who
Ready to rock.
Yeah, wants to try, right? Wants to try to learn something. It's a friend. We would never normally work on something this old, but it's just a little Cummins 5.9, and so the injection pump failed, so it's running on maybe 4 cylinders. So we're gonna send the pump out, have it rebuilt, and I'm hoping I could, because I know someone gave them a price on it, and they just need some help because the guy lives in the bus, and
Is he here?
no, he found another place to stay, but they got a huge estimate from someone else, and so they asked, hey, can you know what I mean? Can you? I go, yeah.
Who was the estimate from?
I don't think I want to say. It's a good shop. It's just they wanted to try to say, and I'm like, look, I'll get it done for less, and their estimate was good. This is the pump where when he called me, well, actually his cousin called me because I know her, and she's like, hey, his P pump's bad, and I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, I don't even know what a P pump is. And when he starts describing me, I go, that sounds like an injection pump. So we checked it out, and it's like this one right here. If you put a wrench on, it's loose. It's got some problems. That's what everybody calls it, is a P pump. This specific model would be a P pump, right? But to me, it's an injection pump. Diesel fuel goes in it, it makes high pressure, and it goes to the injectors. This is an injection pump.
So we work on these here too?
Yes. And that's just the compressor. That's the air compressor, so that had to come out to get that out.
What else we got? What's over here? On that side?
Yeah, I think Jimmy's just trying to come up with, this is that, I think it's a 5.3, that Chevy engine that, it shuts off cylinders going down the road.
Yes.
Well, now the camshaft died. Well, one of the push rods isn't moving at all, so we know the cam died in it. So there's really, you could fix it, but we're just going to put an engine in it, and then they make an engine. Jasper makes an engine that we can put in there that it doesn't shut off cylinders.
You still like Jasper?
They always answer their phone. Like, I think they're a good company. When you call them and you want a price quote, they'll tell you what the price is and ask you about all these different things that that you might like, different options or whatever. But my point is, when you have a problem, they answer their phone. That's Jasper. I mean, like, hey, we put that engine in, we're having some problems, and they'll answer their phone and go, hey, we'll open up a work ticket. That's what I really like, is that that they'll they stand behind their product. I mean, and that's all you can ask for, right? And I hear other people say, well, I don't like it, and I don't like this and that, but I don't think that, I don't know, I just want somebody to answer the phone when I got a problem. For sure. So this guy took it to somebody else, they put an engine in it, and I'm sure he got it really cheap, and we found out every reason why. Like, he's getting codes that one of the banks, bank 1, bank 2, I don't remember which, is overheating. So you think it's just a sensor problem, but then when you put a pressure tester on it, coolant just starts bleeding out, through multiple places, right? So it's got air conditioning problems. We found air conditioning line that's not hooked up, and so that's the thing, right? You get what you pay for. If somebody gives you a really cheap price, usually there's a reason, right? Right?
I don't know. It's just really cool because people. You're familiar with the whole van life thing, right?
Well, no, this dude's a total outdoorsman. I mean, he is like, when he dropped it off, I said, hey, you want to ride back home? It was like 105 degrees. Do you want to ride? He goes, no, my bike's in the back. I go, dude, it's 105. We'll just give you a ride home. He's like, no. So he changed his clothes into his cycling gear, jumped on his bike, and rode to Richa Canyon. He's a total like camper, outdoorsman. I want to go to the hotel after doing this every day. I don't want to get. I just want to be, like where the guy carries your bags, sir, gonna get your bags. So this is a guy right here. His truck costs thousands of dollars to fix, and he's one of the few people. When we came and showed him the last problem we had, he goes, I did this. He goes, I neglected the truck. I didn't fix it when I knew it was telling me I needed to fix it. And so he just had all kinds of problems, and like, it was thousands of dollars, which, this one had no engine problems though. This was all like suspension problems. Like, he just wanted to be safe. He bought it for his son, and he just wanted to be safe for his son to drive. So the suspension was all wore out, a bunch of slop in the steering. I think it had some air conditioning. Oh, and it had some the doors wouldn't lock right. You know when the actuators go bad? So I think there's only one door that would actually lock. So it needed all new actuators so that, you know, you can lock the doors. And I think most of it was suspension, and because it has an aftermarket suspension, it's been here forever, because, you know, you're thinking this is Ford. Oh, nope, that part's not Ford. This part's not Ford. So just trying to get aftermarket leaf spring bushings and just different things to, you know, just make it safe to drive, because it was not safe to drive before. It was all.
You still like the 6.0s?
I think, yeah, I don't have a problem with them. I mean, I know everybody, I don't know. I just don't know if people took care of them or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you, like, I don't care.
I mean, what trips me out, they're still around. Obviously, guys are still driving them.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't pay attention to this is 7.3 or 6L. Dude, this is a gasoline engine. This is not a diesel. I never paid attention when it came in here.
V10?
It's got to be. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I didn't even look at it. It's just this guy's he's a good customer. We don't see him that often. He's like, hey, just make it safe, you know, as if it were for your son. So when we were done with the estimate, it was like $15,000. And he's like, I can't spend that much money. I don't want to spend that much money. So we're doing whatever we can for him within his budget. But, you know, it's the thing. When you buy a used car, you know, and it looks nice, but, you know, somebody spent money on the paint. And the really important stuff is all like under here. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can drive a rusty truck, but if you turn the steering wheel 3 inches and the front tires don't move anywhere, that's a problem, right? So when we're done, at least it'll drive straight. It'll be safe to drive. It'll have good brakes, and, you know, it'll.
All right.
But it's a good looking truck. I mean, if I don't really like off-road type stuff, but I mean, you know, like, if you look at it, it's a nice truck, and the kid's pretty young, so he'll probably, you know, dig it.
It is. It's a clean looking excursion.
Yeah. So hopefully I see all those seals, so we must be doing air conditioning work on it too.